So here it is redundant. The height column is defined as the default color column. If you put something else in here as the color column, then that'll change. The way I would do this, if I had distance value and I had another value of like speed, how fast are you traveling? I want to see geometrically represented in the time direction, which is kind of X, is forward and then to the side and then up. Time is forward. Just like time travels, just like any sample you take of anything, time will be the variable that is changing as you collect a signal. Maybe you'll have other variables, like distance is changing as you collect a signal. So I'll make that my depth column, and then I'll have a height column, force. That's the one I really care about. That is the one I care about. That is the dependent variable that we want to watch, that we want to know. What is the signal we're collecting? Time is just an assistant variable. Distance is just for reference. Force is the thing we care about. If we were to take scalar values out of this, what would they be? That's the question. Which one do you choose for height column? The ones that would still be useful if they were a scalar, relative to nothing else. And then I could say, okay, I also took a speed. I knew how fast I was traveling at any given moment. That's kind of interesting. Or I knew what the lean angle of, like, if I'm collecting bicycle data, of like, yeah, how fast am I going? What distance have I traveled? What time is it? And I'm collecting data on my lean angle. I want to know how far I'm leaning over. And I want to know how fast I'm traveling. You can see all that at the same time, if you want to. Great. So this is what we're working with. Our start column is the first. That's where our headers are. That's where the names of our data starts. There's no metadata above that, so that's where we start. If there was metadata, this is for columns. This is kind of confusing because there's different styles here. There's a multi-sheet 2D, which assumes everything is in columns, and then there's single sheet multi-column, which assumes things are in columns, but you're no longer going to have multiple values that are the signal you care about. So like height. You'd have multiple height values for the same identities. So you're making a big bar chart basically. And so the way you manage, hey, where's the metadata is going to be different because some of those columns are going to be metadata in that instance. But oftentimes, if you have single column or if you have single spreadsheets that hold your data, oftentimes the metadata, it shouldn't be vertical. No one should use the first 17 lines of the first 17 rows of their spreadsheet to show metadata, but people do that. They do that. They shouldn't do it, but they do. They should just make another column, and I get it why they want to put it at the top, because otherwise it's at the end of the spreadsheet. But it's better for me. How about that? All right, so we're gonna run this bad boy. Oh, we default to bin. I don't even think ASCII runs right now. ASCII is useful if you want to read your FBX files, like as a human. If you want to open them and look at the text, do ASCII. Bin, it's actually going to be a slightly larger file, but then it's able to compress better if you want to convert it into a GLB. That's all I'll say about that. This plugin override stuff is really interesting. Really stoked on what that's doing. So basically, I'll show you. I can have multiple colors in the same model. So I can say, hey, I want every individual curve to be a different color. First curve, second, third curve, those are 3 different colors. And then I also want to see another model that I can turn on and off, so I can switch between the two, how is color useful to me. And then I can also see the model that shows me the color gradient based on height, which is bin gradient per assigned vector. So this section only uses 9 colors. It puts everything into bins and it applies it. But true gradient means there's not going to be those stark shifts between zones. It's going to be individual colors, and that takes a bit more processing power because you need to create a new color. This is just recycling the same 9 colors and applying them. So anyway, I can say, hey, submit that, and it'll put it here. So if there's anything in this box, it'll check that if it exists, and if it exists, it won't use this one. That's true here in import. That's true here in export style, and it's true here in color style. Export style and import style cannot have multiples, at least at this point, and that is a special use case that I don't think we need to worry about right now. But color, like if you want to make multiple colors at the same time, go for it. It's not great